Welcome to my introduction to a talk I'm going to be giving in the MISTech conference for year 2020 on the topic of the threefold social order with regard to Hegel and the life of rights and how it interacts with other aspects of German idealism and spiritual development of the human being. Hegel lived from 1770 to 1831. He's considered one of the last of the German idealists. He followed on from the work of Fichte and Goethe, and as well as answering some of the questions that Kant raised in his critique of pure reason. In 1920, it was the 150th anniversary of Hegel's birthday, and Steiner gave a lecture in the middle of a series of very esoteric lectures on the threefold social order. He gave a talk devoted to Hegel about Hegel's work on the phenomenology of spirit, as well as the science of logic. And we will start with an overview. For the talk that I'm going to give, we're going to start with an overview of the threefold social order, the three domains, the cultural, the life of rights, and the economic. And we're going to focus on the life of rights because that's where Hegel's science of logic fits in and gives us the greatest understanding of how the spiritual worlds interact with the physical world in terms of polarities. In all of human history and in the creation event, you have the working of polarities. And we will follow that thread of the working of polarities into the modern age, see how the ancient physicists viewed motion versus, let's say, the more modern notion of Newton, and how that had to do with a change in consciousness. Hegel looked also at a change in consciousness through history. He saw the working of these polarities everywhere and recognized that in every single day of our existence, we are working on balancing polarities. Every minute of every day, every conversation, we are working on balancing polarities. And he was very interested in the nature of these polarities, and he devoted his life to his philosophical work on those polarities. What he recognized was that people get stuck in one polarity or the other. They get pulled, and it's very hard to be a free human being when you're caught up in a polarity and are not conscious of it. The life of rights, compared to the cultural or the economic, sits in the middle, and it represents where we are partially conscious and partially unconscious. It's a sort of transition point between a more conscious on the cultural and a less conscious on the economic. And so we will look at first defining the cultural, the rights, and the economic, so that's clear. And then we will move into elaborating what it means to have these polarities in the world and how technology relates to these polarities as well, because that's also a big part of our existence in this day and age. I'm a technologist. I'm a computer architect for a Boston firm, and working on the next generation of factories, which are going to change dramatically from the past as we move into an age of programmable factories. Flex factories is their actual definition. And how that relates, it actually ties into how these polarities come into play and how we work in the world in very practical sense. I'll take 3 examples in order to anchor these ideas in real world examples. One from the judicial, a sort of common law um, trial on which I was a juror. Another example that will come from a broader trial on the sort of national political stage. And then the third one will be more international relations with some of the more oppressive nation states and how we deal with human rights from afar. From there, we will look at a deeper aspect of the structure of the threefold social order, and also how these polarities actually are represented by spiritual beings. And it's important that we bring consciousness to this process, because in unconsciousness, we just get broiled in materialism. In consciousness, we start perceiving these forces. And if we take this far enough, we can perceive the spiritual beings or the spiritual worlds that surround these polarities that are affecting us in our decisions, our judicial decisions, our political decisions, and then ultimately international relations. That's about all I wanted to share for now. And I look forward to seeing you on coming Friday when I'm scheduled to present my ideas. Look forward to working with you and to the question and answer session that will follow. Thank you.